Good morning and welcome to day 6 of the Arctic adventure. Now, it was so nice here yesterday at this factory. I just had to come back and enjoy the morning silence. Definitely gonna be back, and that time I'll take a walk around the little lake because it looks just so peaceful. What a lucky find I made. If you didn't check out yesterday's video with the factory tour, then you should definitely do that after this one, because I got a private tour from Jesper and it was just the coolest thing ever. So absolutely worth the watch. Also, that's kind of what I feel like all the time without having a toilet on board. Oh well, found a moose friend. Just imagine people riding those instead of horses. I mean, you'd already have like the handles. Also, that would look much cooler. I think that was enough of Luke's philosophy club, and it's just about starting to rain, so let's get out of this patch of grass before we get stuck. By the looks of it, I got really lucky with the timing and the weather, so good to be back on the road. And next up is gonna be Jönköping, and I finally pronounced that a bit better, probably still not right. And there I want to explore the city a bit, and hopefully the rain stops until we're there. That's also something kind of weird if you're in a foreign country. Well, at least I just used the Android, I don't know, home screen weather app, but I know for Switzerland that it's just pretty bad, and our own weather service is way better. So maybe I have to look into what the Swedes use. And there still are so many industrial sites here. You can really see the history of the town. I think it already looks kind of like we're in the complete wilderness, even though we're just about in the southern tip of Sweden, where it's still quite densely populated compared to the north. So we've got 70 kilometers to Jönköping, and then later on we're gonna go to the IKEA. Now I'm still not quite sure which one, either in Jönköping or there's another one in Linköping, and there I'm gonna have some sort of late lunch and hope the internet is good enough to upload all my footage and finish editing a few bits. For now, we've got a cozy rainy drive all across the Swedish countryside. I just made my way into the city and it looks like everyone's still asleep, but I think it's already like 10 o'clock. Parking's pretty expensive, over 6 euros for 2 hours, but let's make it worth it. So first we gotta find a bakery somewhere. Just started raining again, and I don't even know if my camera's waterproof, but it has to be like a bit rainproof, I guess. Just if it cuts out, you know why. So I went for one of those cardamom buns and the little barred up sourdough bread, and both were just so good. I would have loved to get a second bun, but I'm not moving too much, and I promise there's not going to be much toilet content, but I had to show this one. They were blasting like royal wedding music. I don't think I've ever had such a noble toilet experience before, so I had to sign on the little guest list, I guess. Now the city sure seems to be slowly awakening, and I think somewhere up front there should be a pier with quite a good view. Also, it stopped raining again, so I hope this lasts. That would sure make for a pretty cool renovation project. Even has a little tiled bathroom. Well, made it to the end of the pier. Now the question is, can we look over the white walls? Oh wow. I think that's a pretty good view. I think it's time to get my butt wet and drink my morning coffee. And I gotta say, I do like the city. And I think with some nicer weather, it would be fantastic. I mean, it still is, but maybe I gotta come back here too. That's a good one. Peter Larsson Cafe, or how the Swedish would say, Peter Larsson. Peter Larsson. Peter Larsson Cafe. It's a weird language to get right, I think. Well, I thought I'd do a quick time lapse, but the clouds didn't move at all, so yeah, that was a pretty lame one. Now I'll head back to the van, and then we're gonna make our way up to Linköping to the IKEA. And on the way there's gonna be such a cool rest station. Well, it's not the station that's cool, but what's next to it. That's gonna be a neat stop in half an hour. Guess how many cardamom buns Johan had? I think too many. So I just got a little tip from a friend and we're gonna make another quick detour. And apparently this is the most Swedish thing to do, to stop in this town called Gränna and buy some candy. And according to him, this town only exists because of all the candy shops. So I'm not sure how accurate all of that information is, but it sure sounds fun. So off to Gränna. And I'm probably mispronouncing that again. Now that's a cool roundabout. And here we go to Gränna. I have no clue what to expect, to be honest. But I did want to buy some licorice on this trip. I guess this is gonna be the place for it. And I don't know, where do we go? Or was that already it? Are there more stores than one? That would have sucked if that was the only one. There has to be more. There's a lot of camper vans, so that kind of has to be a good sign. So that's another one. Yeah, let's go to the next one and hope it's not a tourist trap. Just imagine living here and then having so much traffic just because you have some candy shops in front of your house. But then again, probably all of the residents work in the candy industry here. Those are some really pretty houses. By the amount of people, I would guess this is kind of the city center. Yeah, I think we've reached the end of the road, so let's turn around over here. And that was so steep. Holy moly. Now this is so insanely steep. I feel like the van's gonna tip over any time. This is crazy. But no luck finding a spot. To be honest, I don't have the nerves to find a parking spot here. I'm just gonna go to one of the candy shops on the outside. And I'm well aware that those are probably not the most authentic ones, but judging by the amount of tourists there are here, I find it a bit hard to believe that the ones in the city are more genuine, but what do I know? Don't want to spark a cultural controversy here. Also, I need to buy some water so bad. I ran out of it. Already getting a headache. So I've got the goods, and I gotta say, it's not even the candy I like. Don't really get this hard stuff. So I've got some licorice and elderflower and some polka cola, and those are a bit softer, and it's like a peppermint caramel. I'm gonna bring those two home and try this one. And now I kind of feel bad for body shaming Johan and buying almost half a kilo of sugar, but yeah. Also, I made it to the rest stop and it's nothing like I expected. I'm not even sure if we should go out there. So that was the ruin in the back. I was really excited to go look at. I mean, it is pretty cool, but it's on the other side of the highway. And I've never seen this many cars or RVs at a rest stop. And that's like just half of it. And then in the back, there's even more. Then someone's bringing his entire supermarket. I could fit my van in that box. It's just a regular weekday. Of course it's vacation season, but I'm kind of horrified by all that people, so I think I'm just gonna make my way out to the IKEA. Yeah, because this drains my energy levels way too quickly. I found another moose friend and also some bins so I can recycle all my stuff. And check out the view from this gas station. It's so much better than the last one. Oh, I could just throw the bag in. Well, that was about €2 of German fun thrown down the bin. It was even more than the water cost itself. I still owe you a taste test of the little polka colas. Here goes nothing. So it's kind of pinkish, reddish, white in color. It's super sticky, so it's gonna be one you have something from for the rest of the day. Taste-wise, it's actually quite subtle, which I like. And it is about 50-50 between peppermint and caramel. I mean, it's not bad at all, but I just prefer those soft licorice gummy bear style thingies. So there's no way I'm gonna eat many more of those. Might have to bring them home as well. It's just not gonna look as pretty anymore because the package is opened up. I think it's official. Today's episode is going to be called something like a rainy day in Jönköping or whatever. That was quite a lot of water. My van did need a wash though, so I'm not too sad about it. And as fast as the rain came, it went away again. So let's get the last 25 kilometers over with. Well, I sure was too quick to call the rain being gone. But we made it to the IKEA. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the internet is fast. And also, not too surprisingly, if you visit a gigantic shopping place and it's raining, there's probably gonna be quite some people. Now we're talking. I ordered so much food, which considered for everything to only have been 11 euros, was incredible. Now, it was really loud with all the kids in there, and compared to the IKEAs I'm used to in Switzerland, they didn't have a business area where you could plug in your laptop, so there was only like 2 sockets. Anyways, I got one of the good tables and ended up getting in 4 hours of super productive work, and I actually stayed so long that I had dinner and they kind of kicked me out because I was the last one there. And the restaurant closed. Also, the internet was fantastic. It was even faster than the one I have at home. So I could finally back up all the raw footage. However, now it's already almost 8. I still gotta go buy some water and drive about an hour to the camp spot. And I think it's a pretty popular one next to a swimming lake, so there might not be any room left. So I'm gonna head to the grocery store real quick, and then I'm just gonna speed through the last, I don't know, 60 kilometers. And it should make for a nice evening drive. There is some blue sky, and I think it's gonna look pretty cool with the clouds. And then hopefully there's a spot left for us. Now somehow my camera is behaving really weirdly and swiveling around, so that time lapse was kind of weird. But this is easily some of the nicest, well, I would say this is the nicest driving of the entire trip so far. It's just unbelievably beautiful out here. I think in 20 kilometers I've crossed paths with 2 cars. Now isn't that just so nice? And then every now and then there's a little village. Well, village, and I always have to laugh a bit because on the map there's like a name, and then you go there and there's only 1 or 2 houses, and I mean the second house most of the time is just the sheds for the first house. Also really weird, at the store they had a huge selection of alcohol-free beers, so I thought I'm gonna make a little tasting and buy 3 of those. At the register she asked to see my ID if I was over 18, and I thought she was making a joke. I just asked if she was like, serious? She said, well, yeah, you gotta show ID just if you're over 18. So that, well, but it's all alcohol free. Apparently they don't care, and I had it at the car and I didn't bother getting it because the parking lot was so big and I just wanted to get on the road. And it wasn't even the 0.5% alcohol free, but the 0.0. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's for all of Sweden or if that's just a weird policy of that store. Now I hope you get what I mean by nicest driving. This is just, it's just crazy. Now what's that tank doing over there? Well, we found a lake, but I don't think it's the right one. Ours should only be about 1 kilometer away though, so it has to be really close now. Now check that out, there's deer. I don't think I got it. Here we are, and oh my god. How is there only 3 other people? This is crazy. How cool is that? Now I'm completely lost for words. I mean, honestly, this is like heaven on earth. Then I spot the rainbow on the other side. You can still see a little bit of it. It was a complete half circle before. I don't even know how I get so lucky with picking the right spots. This is unbelievable. Would be better with one of my beers though, but I mean, this is already like an 11 out of 10. Now it's so quiet, I'm kind of even afraid to speak. I bet if I stood across the entire lake, you could still hear me loud and clear. I really am lost for words. I hope I could capture the feeling a bit, but I've never experienced something like that. Also, this chair is pretty comfortable, and I've got some celebratory grapes. Really good stuff. Now, what a beautiful day that was. In fact, I think I'm gonna let this one speak for itself. I can't wait for tomorrow because we're gonna take a swim in the lake and then explore an abandoned mine where we're also gonna camp. But that's sure gonna be a lot of fun too. So have a good night and I'll see you tomorrow.